Hello and welcome. My name is Andy Lanning, and I am here to talk to you about the Microsoft Word top 10 features, in my opinion. And so let's keep that in mind, that this is my opinion. When I teach my computer courses, my name is Andy Lanning. And so when I teach my computer courses, I'm sorry, there was just a repeat of my voice there. When I teach my computer courses, my computer courses. My name is Andy Lanning. Is it Cecilia?
Nope, you're good to go, Andy.
I'm hearing some feedback. Okay, so I apologize for that. So for those coming today, I just want you to know that you are welcome to ask me questions at any time. And the way you do that is to actually type them into the chat section of the webinar page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some great things about Microsoft Word. But one of the best things to know is the actual screen layout itself. Let me show you the list that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to start with number one, the quick access bar. Now the quick access bar is located right up here on the top left. It's above your file home insert. And as you can see, my ribbon tabs are just sitting here without any tools under them, because what I've done is I have collapsed those. So I'm going to double click and it will lock them open. Now the reason I collapsed them is because I'm working on a Surface Pro tablet and it has a small screen. So your real estate on your Microsoft Word screen is pretty valuable. So if you double click those, they'll collapse. I can click it once, it'll open, but it won't stay open, but a double click will lock it open. And then of course they did give us this button right over here that will do the same thing. But let's talk about the quick access bar. That's hanging out right over here above the home and the insert. Now I'm here to tell you folks that Microsoft Word does not come set up productively out of the box. You have to actually know that, by the way, this quick access bar is the most valuable toolbar in the entire program, and they hid it right up here where we never look. And you know why we never look there? Because we happen to be human, and humans don't look above anywhere they're working, okay? We tend to look right here, dead center of our screen. We look at these ribbon bars, but do our eyes ever float up here? No. So let's solve it right now. We're going to move this quick access toolbar below the ribbon. So if you hit the drop down arrow, and I hope you're actually, if you have Microsoft Word open and you can do this with me, that's great. If not, please sign up for the class on GoSkills, because I will take this through a step at a time. Everything we do today, plus another 40 lessons, short little 3-minute lessons, and then you can watch a lesson and then do that particular task on your own screen. Right down here on the bottom of this drop-down arrow, again, it's right up here. Hit the drop-down. Way down here it says Show Below the Ribbon. So when I click that, it just took that quick access bar and put it below my ribbon. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, that just took away more screen space. Well, it did, but the benefit is now when I collapse my ribbon, it's right here. My little quick access bar is right there. So it becomes personal preference, but we're not done with this. I need you, this would be a task, a homework assignment. Hit the drop down and put a check mark on each one of these items that are on this list. Now, I realize that list goes away. Every time you click it, it goes away. And I am sure Microsoft could program that to stay open, but they just don't realize. They've never taken a class from me. They just don't realize how important this thing is. So anyway, all these buttons are right here. Now, I am going to collapse this because I can't see the bottom of my list. Way at the bottom, we have one more. It's called More Commands. Now, when you click on the More Commands, buckle up. This is a super secret. This is one of those top 10 items about Microsoft Word that hardly anyone knows even exists, and it's called More Commands at the end of the quick access bar. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and welcome to every command that is possible inside Microsoft Word. And you're going to think, oh my goodness, don't make me learn all these. No, I'm not going to make you learn all these. I just want you to pull a couple of them out because they're really important and they will save you clicks. So on the right-hand side, right over here, is our existing quick access bar. On the left-hand side are the popular commands available. And so I'm going to activate Save on the right. And because I made this one blue, whatever I choose over here, when I double-click, it will land right under that one. So way down here on the list on the left is one that says Save As. I love this button. You have to add this button to your quick access. So watch what happens. I'm going to double-click, click, click. And there it pops over on the right-hand side. Now, I like to rearrange mine. I want my new file to be at the top. So we have these little buttons up, up, up. and I can push that up to the top. You can rearrange any of those that you want. And then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some on here that don't exist already. So I'm going to activate the bottom, and over here on this list, I'm going to look for one that says promote and demote. Now they're alphabetical in here, so I'm looking right over here for my D's. I'm looking for demote. Over here in the P's, I'm looking for promote. It's not there. Here's a super secret, folks. Even though it says popular commands right here, not all the commands you want are there. So I hit the drop down arrow and look at this. All commands. Again, you're not going to remember all of these steps I'm taking you through. Get on to GoSkills, sign up for that course, go through it again when you see the video, or watch this webinar again, and because this is pretty important stuff. So I'm activating the list on the left. I'm going to hit the letter D. It'll take me right to my D's, and now I'm looking for one that says demote. Now, why in the world do we want demote? If you ever set up a list of 1, 2, 3s or ABCs, and you want one to be like number 1 and then the one under it to be A, that's called a demote. You're demoting a paragraph, and you're demoting paragraph numbering. So when we hit the demote and put it right over here, that will take the number 1 and make it a letter A and push it in a tab. Okay, so now let's go find one that is promote. So right over here, oh my goodness, there's a lot of them. I can't type my way to it. The best I can do is type the letter P. So let's go find promote. I'm so close. Oh, I'm doing alphabets in my head. Okay, double click, and there's promote. Demote and promote right there. What will promote do? It will take the letter A, promote it to a number 1, and push it to the left by an indent. Saves you a ton of rework when you're dealing with numbered lists and outline lists. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK on this because I'm done, and watch what happens to my quick access. Look at that. This is becoming a very useful quick access toolbar, and here happens to be the demote and the promote. Now there's another one that's really important. It's on the view ribbon. So when I click the view ribbon, we have all these buttons right over here. Now there's this little set, it's called the zoom set. It's a one-page, multi-page, and a page width. I'm going to add each one of those to my quick access toolbar, but I'm not going to go in that hard way I just showed you. I'm going to do this on the fly. So super secret number 1 to all computers, you guys. Super secret number 1. And I'm going to say this, and some of you folks are going to say, oh, I already knew that. But did you know it is the most important thing I can teach anyone in my computer class? And that is right click. And you're going to say right click. Big deal, right click. Yeah, right click. Anytime you have the question, how do I? The answer is always right click. How do I add this button, the one-page button, to my quick access toolbar? Well, how do I answer with right click? Right click where? On the question, on that button. Read the list. It is your responsibility as a good computer user to read these lists. I cannot sit beside you and show you which one to choose. I need you to pause, slow down, read a list, become familiar with these lists. You will be a better computer user. You will learn how to remove clicks out of your life. And honestly, I talk to people about this all the time. Every click is a millisecond. Milliseconds become seconds, which become minutes, which becomes a list of frustrating processes we go through. If we can trim clicks, we're going to be better computer users. We're going to be done with projects faster. As you can see, I'm hanging out on this one. It says add to quick access toolbar. Click that. And I just added, I think, yep, where'd it go? There it is. Added it to my quick access toolbar. I'm going to go ahead and expand my ribbons so that doesn't happen. And here we go. Okay, so I just added the one page to my quick access toolbar. Now I'm going to add multi-pages. Add to quick access toolbar. Now I'm going to right click on page width. Add to quick access toolbar. Now I'm going to show you why I did that. Are you ready? Buckle up. Here we go. Here is my one-page view of this document. Here is my multi-page view of this document. Sometimes the actual text doesn't matter, but the design of the document matters. And that multi-page view right there is the golden button that you probably never even knew about. Why not? Because it's buried right way over here on this view ribbon. It is buried. These 3 buttons are golden. I love them. They should be the color gold with like sparklers coming off of them. They're wonderful. I'm also going to show you page width. Page width just expands one page to the width of my screen so I can read it. I love those 3 buttons. I love the promote demote. I love the save as button. They're all wonderful, but unless you take a class and someone tells you how important they are, you would never know that. So anyway, that's my lesson about the quick access toolbar. So the good news is if you are using an older version like 2010 or 2013, when you upgrade, all your settings for your quick access toolbar automatically come into your upgraded version. You don't have to set it up again. Yes, one time you have to do some homework and you have to set up this list one time, but then you won't have to worry about it again in the future. So anyway, there is one more thing I want to show you on the view ribbon, and that is right over here. It's called the navigation pane. This is here on my list, item number 3, the view ribbon, navigation pane, and multiple pages. One of the best things you need to know about Microsoft Word is this little baby right here called the navigation pane. Watch what happens to my screen when I activate that. Click. There it goes, the navigation pane. And you're going to think, Andy, you just reduced the size of your screen. It's not going to help me at all. Oh, yes, it is. Just wait a second. There's 3 options right under here: headings, pages, and results. Right now, results is blue, because it wants me to type in to find a certain word, to find something. Look at what happens when I click headings. When I hit headings, see this little list here? That happens to be my headings right down here on this page. That's my table of contents. These are the headings. But these, if I click them, they won't send me to my table of contents. They'll send me directly to whichever one it's linked to. So watch. I want to go to productivity boosters. Click. And I just noticed there's a typo there. My goodness, how embarrassing. All right, so I'll get rid of the typo. Notice it fixed itself right away on the left. Now, on the navigation pane, it shows me exactly which one I clicked, and it zoomed me to that page, which, if you'll take a look with me down on the bottom left of my screen, page 7 of 12. Okay, I want to go look at the review ribbon. I'm going to click on that one. Zooms me directly to the review ribbon section of my document. Take a look with me down on the left of my screen, page 9 of 12. This is wonderful. And when I'm working in Microsoft Word, I have the navigation pane open all the time. I am addicted to it. I love this feature. It is awesome. But how come you didn't know about it? How come no one uses it? Because they don't know about it. They have no idea how important this feature really is. It's awesome. Now, there's another feature right up here. I talked about the results. If I'm looking for a word, I click here. If I want to look at my headings and click through sections of the document, I go here. Check out this one. Pages gives me little tiny thumbnails of my entire document. You guys, this is great stuff. If you're dealing with long documents and large documents and hard to manage documents, you're going to have this setting all the time. I prefer to leave mine on pages when I'm in long documents, but if I am working on sections, then I will go to headings and I will use this. And of course, if I want to find results, I'll do this as well. Now, there's another thing about results. It says results, it says navigation, it says search document. We have been trained to look for the word find, replace, Control F for find. That is how we find things. Well, they've kind of abandoned that verbiage in the 2016. So I'm just kind of bringing you to the table and telling you they're trying to unify everything across all their platforms. So now they call it navigation. But that's okay. I'm going to look for the 2016. I'm just going to look for that one and look at it. Shows up 4 results, headings, pages. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in the results and it shows me every version of 2016. Well, what if I want to replace the 2016 with 2013? Well, I'm going to hit the drop down arrow and I'm going to read the list, and there it is. It says replace or go to or advanced find or options. Again, a list shows up. I'm hitting a drop down arrow and a list shows up. So again, I'm going to say, pause, slow down, read the list, become a better computer user by becoming familiar with these lists. You know why I tell people to read the lists? I teach class. I actually am an instructor. I teach classes at our local college, at a couple high schools. I go out to corporations and I teach. And I actually had someone say to me once in the classroom, well, no one ever told me to read the list. And I thought, oh my goodness, okay, read the list. So here I am, folks. I'm telling you, please read the list, because you'll just be a stronger, better computer user. So, all right. I just want to say one thing about the ribbon real quick. Ribbons, the home ribbon, the insert ribbon, the draw ribbon, the design ribbon. In my world, a ribbon is pretty pink and made of satin. It doesn't look like this, okay? This, to me, looks like a workbench. I happen to be married to a plumber, and this looks like his tool bench out in our garage. So they're hard, and you're not going crazy. If you think this is hard, guess what? You're right. This is hard. And so it's just a matter of becoming familiar with these buttons. And if you just float your mouse, let it tell you. As you can see, I float my mouse on the B, and it shows me right below. Bold gives me the shortcut for it, Control B, and it's just teaching me. It's called a tutorial. My favorite button in the world is this little format painter right over here. In fact, it's such a favorite button with me that right now I'm thinking, oh, I should have had you guys add it to your quick access toolbar. So let me give you a pop quiz right now. And of course you can't answer me, but you can type it in the chat if you want. How do I add that button to my quick access toolbar? Well, how do I is always answered with the right mouse button. So I'm going to right click, and now I'm going to read the list. And the first one says add to quick access toolbar. When I do that, there it is, right over there. I just added my paint format button to my quick access. I always get asked by people, why bother putting on your quick access when it's right there anyway? Well, because I'm not always on my home ribbon, okay? Sometimes I'm on my design ribbon or my layout ribbon. Well, now where's my little paintbrush? I have to stop what I'm doing and go to the home ribbon and hunt down my quick access, my format painter. No, because now when I'm on my layout, my format painter is right there on my quick access toolbar. So, and when I float my mouse, look at that, I get a tutorial teaching me how. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to move on to the second productivity boosters. Let's see, it says it's supposed to say boosters, but I haven't updated my list, but that's okay. I will go back to productivity boosters. All right, here we go. I'm just going to use the actual text that's on my screen for this demonstration. These are little things that I figured out over the years. I've been using Microsoft Word, I'm going to shock you, like 24 years. I'm not kidding you. 1992, I think, is the day I showed up at work and they had taken away WordPerfect and they put Microsoft Word in the office. There was about a mutiny in the office from all the secretaries. And of course, no manuals to read, no instructions, no training, but the same deadlines. Thank you, boss. And so over the years, I learned a few things. And one of them is a double click on a word will select a word. Click, click to select a word. Click, click to select a word. Click, click selects a word. 2 clicks. Oops, 2 clicks. 1, 2. I don't know if you can hear my mouse clicking at all. In my world, that is much easier than this. Click and drag. Wow. That takes so much time, but a double click, 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 there you go. I don't have to aim. I'm not going to miss it or anything. Now notice whenever I do select a word, I get this little box right here. This is called a mini bar. I don't think it's a good idea for Microsoft to relate things to alcoholism like a mini bar in a hotel room, but they do, probably because they send us all to alcoholism because they make us crazy. That's just my opinion. But let's see, double click and you get a little mini bar, which is kind of handy. It has the font style, font size, and all these great things on there. If that bugs you, there is a way to disable it. I don't want you to disable it because the minute you do, you're going to need it. In my opinion, it brings all those little tools right to where you're working. Remember that whole human thing? We kind of look at what we're working on and we stay focused there. So when you double click in the mini bars here, it's just a helper. So let's just leave that one alone. So double click a word to select it. Triple click a word to select a paragraph. Now a paragraph is marked with a hard return at the end of it. So when I 1, 2, 3 triple click, even though it looks like only a line is selected, it's actually a paragraph because the paragraph ends right over here with a hard return. Now, I just turned on my codes. I did a show codes, a show hide codes. If you're not familiar with it, probably freaked you out. My screen just got real messy, okay? So on your home ribbon, we have this little button, and it's called Show Hide. You can also hit Control Asterisk, and that will turn the thing on as well. When I click and activate it, you can see the little tiny arrows right here. Those are tabs. The little polka dots between the words, those are spaces. And the little paragraph marks at the end, those are hard returns. A hard return means I actually hit the enter key and force it to return to the left, the insertion point. So that's what those codes are for. When I'm working on a long document, I always work with my codes on, but I'm used to it. If you're not used to it, this looks like a mess. You don't like this at all, turn it off. Oh my gosh, the horrors of it all. But honestly, it's really useful, you guys. So I would recommend practicing with it. If you're not comfortable with it, practice with it. If you like it a lot, I wonder how I could add that to my quick access bar. Hopefully, wherever you're at, I'm hearing a resounding right click on the button, read the list, add to quick access toolbar, and there you go. So hopefully that worked. I just realized that I had turned off my speakers for feedback, so I apologize, Cecilia, if you were trying to tell me anything. So
yeah, we had one comment, Andy. So Sherry asked if you could go a little bit slower.
Oh, I apologize.
No worries.
Sure, I'll go slower. I'm sorry. And I apologize. Cecilia, also, I was getting feedback on my computer, so I turned off my...
No worries, no worries.
Okay, did we miss anything? Do I need to backtrack?
Nope, you're good.
Okay, great. I get excited. I'm sorry, Sherry. I get excited and I just start rattling off. And so, okay, so productivity boosters. Let's see. So a double click to select a word, triple click to select a paragraph. 1, 2, 3. Paragraph always marked with a hard return at the end. Triple click in the left margin to select the entire document, or also Control A on your keyboard. So I'm going to float my mouse just momentarily. I'm going to turn off my navigation pane. I'm just going to turn that off just for visual, so I'm not scrunching the screen down too much for you guys. Over in the left-hand white margin area, I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I just selected the entire document all the way down, okay? And so the reason I did that is because now maybe I want to change all my fonts. Maybe I want to turn off bold everywhere or get rid of something. Or you could do the terrible mistake of hitting delete right now. Boy, I got lost. I was scrolling through and I got lost. You could if you hit delete with that on, I've got to get back to my boosters. I'm sorry, my productivity boosters. Okay, if you were to do a Control A and hit delete on your keyboard, you can watch it happen on mine. The whole thing just vanished. Everything is gone. I guarantee you, everything is gone right now. Control Z will undo that. Control Z is the undo button right over here on the home ribbon. I don't think it's on the home ribbon. It's on the quick access bar right here, the undo button, and then we have the redo button. If I float my mouse there, it does say undo typing with a Control Z in parentheses. I highly recommend that you guys just memorize Control Z, make it part of your life. And then we have Control Y right over here, a redo. So if you do a Control A or a triple click in the margin, hit delete, Control Z will undo, Control A will redo. And of course, my navigation pane helps me get reset back to what I was talking about. So be very careful when you are selecting the entire document, either with a triple click or with Control A on your keyboard. Be very careful, because the next thing you do will affect all of it. All right. So, but it's a great productivity booster. If you've got to grab 100 pages worth of text and change the font, that's the fastest way to do it. All right, here we go. Click once in the left margin to select a line of text, not a sentence. So let's see if I can. I'm going to go to my multi-page view so I can find a paragraph. Here we go. I'll go to this one, and I'll go to my single page view on this one. So a single click in the left-hand margin. So a double click selects a word, a triple click, 1, 2, 3, selects an entire paragraph, and then a single click in the left-hand margin just selects a line. Notice it's not limited by a period, because the sentence ends right here. So it's not limited by a period at all. It simply selects an entire line, because maybe for whatever reason, I just needed that line and I didn't want to do a click and a drag, which is very slow and slows me down. So by moving the mouse into the left margin, you can see how my mouse pointer actually points to the right. A single click gets just that line. A single click here just gets that line, not the whole paragraph, okay? Every once in a while, you do want that to happen. All right, so back to my productivity boosters over here. Let's see, line of text. Double click a word, then hold Control while double clicking other words. All right, I'm going to double click that word. I'm going to hold Control, double click this word. Hold Control, double click this word. Hold Control, double click this word. Do you see what's happening? I'm selecting just those certain words, and I can color them red all at the same time. I can make them all bold. I can make them underline. I can do obnoxious, terrible formatting things to this, but I'm doing it only once. Another little tip is, let me double click this particular word, which is red, bold, and underline. That's a lot to it. Now what I'm going to do is use the Format Painter. The Format Painter, when I click it once, it will allow me to use it once. I don't know if you can see my mouse. My mouse has this cute little paintbrush attached to it. So now if I double click the next word, it just applied that format to that word. That's why we use the Format Painter. It doesn't copy text and paste text. It copies format and pastes format. It's pretty great. All right, so now that I have this red, I'm going to make that color green, okay? It is still highlighted. Instead of activating my Format Painter once, I'm going to double click my Format Painter. Click, click. Now a double click allows me to use it as many times as I want until I'm done using it. Can you see what's happening? My little paintbrush never goes away. I actually have to come up here and turn it off to make it stop doing that stuff. So now I'm back to normal. No paintbrush on my little I-beam there. So that's the beauty, first of all, of double click a word, hold Control, double click a few more. That's kind of convenient if we want to format all of them at once, or just format one of them. Grab that Format Painter, click it, and then double click any word to apply it. I love it. That is why it is my favorite button ever invented by Microsoft. And I don't want to say just Microsoft Word, I want to say Microsoft. The same button happens to be in Excel, in PowerPoint, in Outlook. That same button exists. I love it. Okay, let's see. Now that I've destroyed all of that, let's see. Click a word. Click into text, hold Shift, and click into another area instead of clicking and drag. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. So basically, if I want to select a section, I click into the sentence, and I'm not going to do a click and drag. Click and drag, you guys, that requires actually wrist motion, finger motion, sometimes arm motion. What I'm going to do is on line F here, it says hold down Shift, click into another area instead of click and drag. So I'm going to click once, holding down Shift on my keyboard, clicking again. An exact click and drag. I do not have to do anything. All right, and then on this last one, I've got to fix that formatting now with my Format Painter, get rid of all that green. Okay, on this last one, hold down Shift and move the arrow keys to select. See, I'm clicking and dragging to select, but watch this. If you want to get very exact, hold down Shift and hit my arrow key, arrow key, arrow key, my little cursor arrows on my keyboard. I'm going just one character at a time. It's kind of hard with your mouse to select just 2 characters of a word, but with a Shift arrow, you can select and be very exact. Isn't that slower though? You might be saying, isn't that slower? Well, yeah, it's a little slower, but it's incredibly exact. I mean, I can get really particular about exactly what I'm selecting. So I end up saving time because I'm not, clicking and dragging too much and moving back and all of this stuff. So those are productivity boosters in Microsoft Word. So, all right, the third option, let's see, the third topic was the view ribbon on the list. Now the view ribbon I talked about briefly already. We talked about the navigation pane, which is on, so I'm going to turn it off. The grid lines, this will send you to the moon right now. You're probably going to hit the roof when you see this. Why in the world would anyone do that to their screen? It's just grid lines on the background of the Word document. They do not print. They are simply there to align graphics. If you're putting pictures in there and you want them to align perfectly to your rulers or to, to each other. It just gives you a little grid in the background. If I've got engineers in the room, you guys are very familiar with the legal pads that have these grids on them. That's basically what we're doing here with these grid lines. Now on my screen, I don't see my rulers. I don't see my rulers at all. I've got to have my rulers. I am a ruler junkie. So I'm going to click on my ruler, and now right above appeared a thin ruler, and on the left appeared a thin ruler. Well, what in the world is that for? Without your ruler, you don't do tabs and indents. You've got to have your ruler showing to do tabs and indents to keep your sanity, just in a word of advice. On the left-hand ruler, it shows me how far down the page. My productivity boosters, I can take a glance and get the 4-inch. My 4 inches is 4.5 is halfway down the page. Wait a minute. 5.5 is halfway down the page. So I must be in the top third of my page. And so at a glance, I can see where I'm at. And the whole thing is, if you're not showing your rulers, you would have no idea that you're missing out some instant visual feedback from the screen by putting these rulers on the outside edges. After you get used to them, you don't notice that they take up any room at all. There's a little super secret in that left-hand ruler. It's a double click. Click, click. A double click will actually open up your page setup. And guys, you might believe this after hearing me, but I had too much coffee one day and I thought I was just clicking over here, and I accidentally double clicked over here and this page setup opened. I've quit drinking coffee. I've switched to tea now because it made me too shaky, and I kept double clicking all at the wrong time. But the good news is I discovered some pretty great stuff. So a double click on the left-hand ruler will open that up for you. A double click on the top ruler will do the same thing. It'll open that up, but a double click on a tab setting will open up my tab stops. So I can get really particular about my tab stops. So we are going to be talking about tabs and indents here in a minute, but not quite yet, because let me see, I want to finish with the view. We have our rulers on. Those should all be on. So view ribbon, and put a check mark on your rulers. Grid lines, not so much. In fact, I never use them unless I'm putting graphics on the screen and need to line them up. Navigation pane, I always have that on, but for this display today, I'm going to turn that off until I need it. And then of course our one page, multi-page, and page width, we've added those to our quick access toolbar, which are right here, our single page, our multi-page, and then our page width. Okay, so we love those particular items. All right, what you need to know. The fifth item we were going to talk about today is the font group. So over on our home ribbon, we have a little group right over here called the font group. Now the font group shows me my font style, font size. This little A up and A down button, love them. I love them so much that they are on my quick access toolbar. So pop quiz again. How do I add those to my quick access? Simply right click on that quick access and add to quick access toolbar. I'm sorry, right click on the button. Right click, add to quick access toolbar. Now I have my little A up and my A down buttons. So watch what happens when I have like cut, copy, paste, up, up, up. I'm visually deciding how large I want it to be. I'm not guessing that number 18 is the one I wanted, because hitting this drop down and actually choosing the one you want is a waste of time. So instead, we can just highlight this and go down, down, down. And we can decide how big or how small we want that to be. So that is why we have the A up and A down. So now a little tip for you, just one more little computer tip for you. Over the years, I've started realizing that anytime I had the letter A show up, it meant alphabet. Okay, so alphabet bigger, alphabet smaller. This is alphabet, but hit the drop-down arrow. It's your change case button. How do I change case? Alphabet color, alphabet highlighting, and then alphabet word art. This is word art. And then this is a brand new button I've seen in 2016. It has that little pink bar beside it. I know it's really tiny, but maybe you can see it on yours. That's an eraser button. Remember in high school, those big pink erasers we all used? That's what this is. A little eraser button. So if you want to remove all formatting off a line, I'm just going to come up here and click, and I cleared all the formatting off of that line. Of course, if I want it back, remember the undo or Control Z, that will bring it right back. I just need to check in real quick with my lovely friend Cecilia. Are you still hearing me okay, Cecilia?
Yep, I'm hearing you well, Andy.
Great. I'm getting this weird spinner on my mouse and I don't know why, so I just want to make sure I was still connected.
Yep.
All right. I'd hate to be sitting here talking alone. So I want to show you one more super secret about the font group, okay? And so I'm on my home ribbon. I'm focused on my font group. See this little gray box right over here, and this little gray box here, and this little gray box here? You know, you guys, these are actually kind of a darker gray right now. You've got to hit those things. They should have fireworks coming off of them. They should be glowing. They are Christmas presents right there. When you click that, this is everything about the font group that could not and would not fit inside and on that ribbon. They buried everything right over here in this tiny little gray box with the arrow, okay? So it's a Dialog Box Operator is its technical name. And so big deal. You're like, oh yeah, Andy, big deal. Why do I want to be there? Well, do you always open up Microsoft Word and find yourself having to change your font style to Arial and regular and size 12? Do you always find yourself doing that? Well, with this little Dialog Box Operator, when it opens up the font group, you can change it one last time. And there's one more step before you hit OK. There's one more step. I know I just changed it. I know the OK down here is blue and it wants me to click on it. But if you'll take a look to the left-hand corner, there's a little button right there that says Set as Default. Here you go, folks. Never change it again. Set as default to this document only or all documents based on the normal template. Absolutely. Choose that one and then hit OK. And now, see, it won't change everything that was on my screen because I'm in a current document. But when I open a brand new one, it's going to be Arial and size 12. I can't even show you right now because I'm in the middle of the webinar, but I do want to assure you that this little box right there is the golden child. You must hit it and you must set up your stuff one last time and hit the Set as Default, and you'll be happy, happy, happy that you took that moment to do that. All right, so that was the font group and our Set as Default. Now, control line spacing. We're going to get into some hard stuff. I'm running out of time, so I want to get the hard stuff out of the way because you came here for the hard stuff. One of the hard things to deal with in Microsoft is that they took away our control of our line spacing. And some of you are like, yes, I know, and I'm so angry about it. And others like, yeah, I got that handled. No, I'm telling you, it was a little bit of a bear. I'm going to just very quickly go back to my navigation pane and go to my tabs indents. I'm going to go to this one here, I think. Okay. I apologize. I'm looking for my line spacing one. Okay. I'll just use this one right here. All right. I have this little paragraph, and it really doesn't matter the font that's on that paragraph. And I'm going to teach you the word super secret before we leave today, but I'm going to go ahead and triple click this paragraph. When I click this paragraph, of course, my mini bar comes up, but right up here on my home ribbon, there's a paragraph section. Paragraph section is a bit of a bear. There's one single button right there. And when you float your mouse, it should tell you that it's line and paragraph spacing. This is the one thing that makes me a little nuts because I'm always in there trying to fix it. When you hit that drop-down arrow, here's where you can decide, do I want 1 1/8 line spacing? Now, pay attention to the space between the lines here, not the text. This is all about paragraph spacing, not text. 1 1/2. Hit the drop-down. I can hit 2. Double spacing. I can hit 2 1/2. And triple space, seriously, triple line spacing, seriously, Microsoft? I don't think we need triple line spacing, but I've never heard of it until Microsoft came up with it. Double line spacing. On your keyboards, I can press Control-1 to go to single, Control-5 to go to 1 1/2, Control-2 to go to double line spacing. I don't have to use this little operator up here to change my line spacing. Back on the old typewriters, we would actually hit the return handle a couple times, or the return key on the electric ones a couple times. So this is basically the same thing. What happened is Microsoft decided that the industry standard should be 1.15. Oh, thank you, the gods of Microsoft, for deciding that. They changed the entire industry, which was single line spacing. They changed it to 1.15. I don't know why. Someone thought it looked good. Okay, you can change it back. Right over here. See that little box? I talked about it a moment ago in the font group, and now this is in the paragraph group. So when I click on that, we can change it one last time. We can change our line spacing to single line spacing at 1 point, and right there, folks, set as default for whatever now, for every new document you open. But that's only if you want that to happen. You don't have to do this. I'm kind of giving you suggestions, but it is your personal preference that matters today, not mine, okay? So if you want to change it, so forevermore, you're going to set it as default, that's fine. I'm going to cancel that because I want to talk to you about something else. And that is the add space before paragraph and the remove space after the paragraph. And this is where our line numbering comes in. Okay, so let me come up here. I have these single lines up here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this bottom line, click my Format Painter, and I'm going to wipe that across the rest of these. You're going to see all the greens and reds vanish right now. Okay, and the reason they did that, because I grabbed one that I liked, I hit the Format Painter, and I wiped that paintbrush down the rest of them, and they all formatted just fine. So I can tell that there's a line between these. It looks to me like it's probably set for the 1.15. So I'm going to hit the drop down, and I can see it says no, it's exactly at 1. But it looks to me like there's space between these lines. Well, there is. Look at the bottom of this list. The remove space. I haven't even clicked it. Just floating my mouse on it shows me what's going to happen. Now I can add space, I can remove space, but I would like to understand why this is happening. How come there's space in there at all? Well, let me click off of that. This is still all highlighted. I'm going to come right up here again to my paragraph group. I'm going to hit this little arrow for, remember, the Christmas presents, everything they couldn't fit into that group, they put in these little boxes. Take a little look right here. After each line, they've decided to add 3 points. Well, how about we add 24 points? Watch what happens. Hit OK. Doesn't it look like I just put triple line spacing on there? Yes, it does. But when I come up here to turn off triple line spacing, what? It's only single line spacing? Well, what in the world is going wrong? It's that we told it to put extra space after the paragraph. Okay, so let's remove that. I'm going to go ahead and remove space after the paragraph. And remember earlier on the home ribbon, I showed you this little button, and I asked you to add it to your quick access toolbar. It's the show hide codes. So I just turned mine on. That line spacing affects that paragraph mark right there. Nothing else. Just that paragraph mark gets space added before or after it based on where that thing is. So the reality is, let's see, let me do this. I'm going to add a bunch of text in here. It's going to be a mess. Okay, I just made a paragraph at item C. I'm going to highlight all of these. I'm going to add space after the paragraph, but not within the paragraph. Does that make sense? I added it after the paragraph, at the paragraph mark, but not within the paragraph. And that is the difference between line spacing, which is within the paragraph. See, I'm rested on the 2. Look at that paragraph C. I just put double spacing in there. Or spacing before or after the paragraph, which affects this little guy right here. And I don't know, it took me a long time to kind of wrap my brain around the difference between those 2 items. And it was a series of bad experiences of people sending me documents with different spacing all over it. And now, honestly, when I do a Control-A to select the entire document, one of the first things I do is I wipe out all the spacing. I just get rid of add space. I get rid of it. Just remove any spacing, because you know who's the boss of my documents? I'm the boss of my documents. And so I just clear out all the random spacing that has been set there from other people's documents, and I start basically from scratch so I can control everything. That's just one of those things that makes me a little nuts, so I wanted to share that with you. And pause here for Cecilia. Do we have any questions about that one?
Nope, we don't have any questions about that one. If anyone does have any questions, just put them in the live chat.
Awesome, great. Well, if we don't have any questions about that one, I'm going to go back to my view ribbon and turn on my navigation pane real quick so I can quickly zoom to my tabs, indents, and rulers. And I hope by me doing this, it's kind of showing you guys why we use our navigation pane. I love that thing. All right, but I am going to close it to save room on the screen. So tabs, indents, and rulers. And this is why you need your ruler. They have shrunk it up. It used to be a lot wider. Now it's kind of thin right up here. And they've shrunk it up. And let me teach you about the actual operators that are on here. This item right here, I'm sorry, I can't zoom in. I can zoom into my document, but not really my, my ruler, although it looks a little bigger now. This little item looks like a hourglass. It's not. It's actually two separate little animals. And so it's the Indent Toolbar. When I float my mouse, I hope you can see it. It says left indent. And then right above it on that arrow, it still says left indent, and above it says first line indent. This is how we indent our lines. Notice as I move it over, that H is following my mouse, and you can also see the guideline down here. So when you're playing around with your ruler, pay attention. First of all, make sure the point of your mouse is the activator here. The actual tip point of that mouse is what activates this thing. And I've had to talk people out of it. Just because your mouse is over the top of it doesn't mean you're pointing at it. It's the tip of that mouse that matters. So you can click and drag and move that to wherever you want, because you're the boss of the document and you can control all of this. In fact, if I want to do a bunch of them at the same time, I could highlight a bunch of them and then I can move the whole thing all at one time. As you can see, it's following me and you can see that guideline. Now, on this particular line, because I have my codes turned on, right over here on my quick access bar, I have my codes on. Back to my home ribbon so you can see that as well. My codes are on, and you can see them on the screen. This little arrow right here, that's a tab key. For some reason, a tab is there. Well, every indent has its own tab. So I'm going to go ahead and hit tab again. And as you can see, it's moving right along. But if you look at my ruler, there's nothing to indicate where the tab is supposed to stop because I haven't put a tab stop in there. So on older versions, I want to show you this because maybe you have an older version on your screen. Maybe you don't have the 2016 version. At the ½ inch mark is a little tiny tick mark. And the 1 inch and the 1.5 and the 2. You can see those itty bitty tiny little tick marks right there. Well, they took those tick marks away on the 2016. I don't like that they took those away. I use them as teaching tools, but they took them away. So to set tabs, basically right over here on the left of your ruler, this is your tab selection tool. Now, currently selected is a left tab. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to place a left tab right there and my tab's adjusted slightly. Now, when I click once, that's my center tab. So I'm going to put a center tab at 2.5. I'm just going to click there and my tabs are moving. As you can see, my arrows are spreading out. I click again and now that's a right-hand tab. And I click again and that's a decimal tab. Notice it has a little polka dot on it, a little tiny upside down T with a polka dot. So it represents a flat line with a center and a decimal beside it. So if I type a number, the decimals will line up right there. So the whole thing now is just using them. So here's my left tab and I hit my tab key. Here's my center tab. And notice when I click and hold the center tab, it dissects right through the word center because I'm typing it. See, it's dissecting right through the word. And I'm going to hit tab again. I'm going to type right tab. Notice the word right is going backwards because it's aligning to the right of that tab setting. And I hit tab one more time and I'll type 29.99. I'll hit enter on that. And that decimal tab, when I click and hold, that guideline is cross-secting right beside the decimal. That's how you keep things lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter again. And I'm going to type a left and center, whoops, and right, and 39.99. And so now watch what happens. When I click and hold, you can see that guideline exactly, all those words are lining up exactly where they be, where I want them to be. What if I want to change my mind? I don't want the right to be right there. I want it to be exactly on the 4. We'll click and drag and move it. Just move it over. Wow. Control Z, if it all goes bad. If it all goes south, just Control Z. So I moved it over. Notice when I click and drag, only the black word is moving, not the orange word, because I happen to be clicked only on this particular line. See, so only that one's moving. If I wanted them both to move at the same time, I would actually highlight both lines and then move them both at the same time and reset themselves. Okay, so now the decimal tab right there. What if I want to get rid of the decimal tab? I don't want it at all. We'll just click and pull that thing right off. I'm literally going to click and drag it off the ruler. Click and, come on you. Okay, and now click on my orange line, click and drag that off the ruler. I no longer have a decimal tab. They're just lining up wherever they want right now. So as you can see, tabs, working with tabs is a little harder. In fact, on the GoSkills lesson, the tab and indents lesson, they're one of the longest ones because you actually go through an exercise. You get to practice doing it. You get to play with it. You get to rewind and listen to it again. It's a little hard to understand. My best recommendation for you is don't be afraid of the ruler. Don't be afraid of the tabs on the ruler. Click through this little tab selector right over here on the left so you can see all your options and have your codes on. Without seeing all your little arrows, it's like driving down the road without your lights on. You can't see what you're doing and what's being affected. And so we absolutely want our codes on when we're working with the tabs. So that's just my best tip for that. I feel like I'm running out of time, and I really, really want to show you the super secret of Microsoft Word. Okay, so we've got to do this. And so let me turn on my navigation pane, view, navigation pane. And let's see, Microsoft Word super secret. Okay, I'm going to turn off my codes just for a moment and turn this back off. All right, so the Microsoft Word super secret. I realized this one day when I was, I'm going to randomly do some formatting here on the screen. I realized it one day when I was working in the classroom. And what in the world is happening on my screen here? And I was actually teaching a class when I had this revelation. And what I realized was, as I had these students clicking through their screen, I was looking at the projector screen. And it's amazing what you see when it's not just a little 8.5 by 11 screen monitor in front of you, but it's huge and it's half the wall in front of you. All of a sudden I noticed, oh my goodness, take a look up here on my home ribbon. The bold is highlighted, this little styles is highlighted, and this alignment is highlighted. Now when I click on the first line, the bold is highlighted, something on my ruler moved, and this little normal went away. Now watch, I'm going to keep your eyes up here this time. I want your eyes up here. I'm going to click on the next line. The italicized highlighted, but not the bold. Now I'm going to click on the bottom line. The underline highlighted, but not the bold. But this thing is staying the same. And I realized right then and there, oh my goodness, I get calls. The most calls I get and the most questions I get in classes are, I can't figure out what's going on with this document. It's going crazy. And I realized, well, that's because your eyes are down here. Your eyes are down here on the problem. Your eyes need to be up here on the solutions. It's a two-step process. Basically, Microsoft Word was originally invented to be a, get this, desktop publisher. That is what we knew Microsoft Word to be, a desktop publisher. Well, we all use our buttons and we all format our text, but do you use them side by side? Are you noticing they're working together? So when you're having a problem down here on the paper, get your eyes up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to arrow down with my mouse. I'm just going to arrow down, but my eyes are going to stay right up here. I'm going to watch what's going on here. I'm going to watch what's going on with my ruler. I'm going to watch what's going on over here. I literally kind of lean back in my chair, hit my down arrow, and I watch buttons flash on and off on my screen. And now I'm just going to keep going through this document. And you're going to see buttons flash on. The font just changed right there. My font changed. This is flashing on and off. I'm keeping an eye on my ruler. I just had tab settings show up right here, or indent settings show up. I'm just basically, at any point on my screen, I'm just watching what's happening on my ribbons. And I'm here to tell you folks, this will set you free. When you realize that, oh my word, all this time I've been fighting with what is happening down here, and the whole time right up above, there's the answer to what's happening, is if you would have just been paying attention to this. That is the best thing I can teach you today, is that division. Get your eyes off the problem and up here on the answer, and you will never be baffled again by any document that's in front of you. It's almost a revelation. It's like hear the angels sing in the background. It is awesome when you realize how much control you actually have, because finally you're paying attention to what's happening up here. So that is what I call the Microsoft Word super secret. I believe all software programs have super secrets to them. This is just the Word super secret. And let's see. I think that's about it. I want to know if there's any questions. Did anyone want to learn something especially today that I haven't covered? I would love to hear from you in these last few minutes. If not, I'm going to show you one more amazing trick. Any feedback, Cecilia?
Nothing yet, Andy.
Great. Okay. I do want to show you one more great trick. And that is the Thesaurus. Remember, I don't know, I said, remember back in the days when we had books on our desks and now we don't because we just jump into the internet? We used to have a thing called a thesaurus. So if you used a word more than twice in a sentence, you better come up with a different version of that word. So I want to find a different version of the word often. And so I want to use my thesaurus. It's actually on the review ribbon and it's right over here, thesaurus. And when I just float my mouse on there, it gives me the shortcut down in the box below. It says Shift F7. That has become a memorized function for me, Shift F7. So it's your choice. You can click Thesaurus or you can hit Shift F7. And here you go. It shows you all the variations of the word thesaurus. Or I'm sorry, of the word often. Frequently, repeatedly, habitually, regularly. Any one of them, you just hit the down button, the down arrow. You can hit Insert or Copy. And maybe you want to listen to it. I'm afraid to hit this. I don't know what's going to happen.
Often.
It tells me how to pronounce it. So if you speak a different language and you're not sure how to pronounce it, you just hit that.
Often.
And it'll read it to you. Notice that the thesaurus over here has a drop-down arrow. Oh, sorry. I was hoping that the translate would come up. So let me go to this one, the translator. The translate, I can translate a document or just the selected text. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that one. Let's get rid of this one. Now I'm going to translate, and then I can actually translate from English to Spanish, or you can pick whatever language you want to translate into, and it will it's going to search the internet for this. And then as soon as the translator works, there you go. It gives you the word right down here. I think that's the word. I don't speak Spanish, so I'm probably not a good one to say that that's the word. But maybe if you speak Spanish, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. It's pretty awesome. It'll actually take an entire document and translate it for you. I love this feature, and it's one of those things where I thought, oh yeah, I'll use those once in a while, until I started actually showing them in classes. And I'd have people just freaking out like, oh my God, it'll translate the whole document. They were just in heaven because they want to translate letters from their grandparents so their children can read them. So it's kind of great. So, okay.
Hi, Andy. So we got a couple questions.
Yeah. Great.
Well, first of all, Zule says that it is correct and they speak Spanish, so that's good. Secondly, Li Hua says, can you go over formatting within a table? It's often not consistent from one row to another, for example.
Yes, tables are their own little animal. So, and I will happily go over that with you. So I went ahead and I highlighted this paragraph, and I'm going to go to my insert ribbon, and I've got a table right here over on the left, insert table. The beauty about tables is you can decide how many, I was going to say how many little squares you want it to be, but it's probably because I already highlighted that. So let me start with a blank one here. Let me just get rid of my research over here. The best thing I can tell you about tables, let me just do this, is use your format painter. If you're having problems formatting from one line to the next, this little guy right here, that format painter, will save your day. It is amazing. Another thing happened when I put this table on my screen. Notice I got a brand new ribbon called Table Tools. You guys, this is what I call peekaboo ribbons. They show up only when you're on that particular animal. Now, when I click outside of this table underneath, I'm going to click, that ribbon just vanished. And when I click back on my table, peekaboo, there's the ribbon. So you need to train yourself to look up to your ribbon, see if you got anything new up there. So now I have the design and I have a layout on here. But honestly, when you're talking about formatting, if we're typing text in here and we're typing text in here, and now you decide that you don't want that to be underlined, darn it, it turned it all red. I wonder if I can ignore that. Yeah, I'll ignore that. Oh, great. Now I'm getting the blue line. Red means misspelling. Blue means contextual error. I've got a grammar error. But the reality is, if you want to get rid of the underline on an entire line of a table, use this little format painter, come over here to the left side, select the entire row. I just formatted that to no underline. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. Yes, it is a bear inside a table. I can do the same thing with columns. I could take this column, select that column, hit the format painter, and come over here and wipe that paintbrush right over this section of the column of the table. Again, the format painter, you guys, it is my best friend. I love that button. It will solve your problems for you. So Cecilia, I'm hoping that answered the question.
Okay, we've got one more question from Beth. Beth asks, does the navigation pane jump using bookmarks or references?
Does it jump? Let me see. View navigation pane using, bookmarks and references. No. That's a good question, Beth. That's a good question, because it only shows me headings, pages, and results. It doesn't even give me an option for a bookmark. I wonder, hold on, if I can hit the drop-down arrow. Here's my footnotes and endnotes, graphics. I wonder if I could go to bookmark right there. So I can go to a bookmark here, and then of course I would have a drop down of a list of bookmarks. Seems like a little hard to go to all that work. So let's figure out a shortcut to your question, Beth. If I want to jump to my bookmarks, I know that go to is Control G. So I'm going to Control G, and it remembers the last thing I was on, bookmark, and now I can hit the drop down arrow. That might be the best I can do for you right now, Beth. Excellent question, though. I'd love to figure out even a faster shortcut for you. I love bookmarks. I use them a lot. I do some pretty advanced Microsoft Word formatting, so I have used bookmarks before, and I love them. They are so handy. They're generally used for very large documents, like policy manuals, that kind of thing. So I hope I answered that question, Cecilia. Any feedback?
Okay, nope, that was all the questions we've got so far.
All right, and let me think. I think it was just a 1 hour, correct, Cecilia?
Yep, that's right. If there's anything that you haven't covered on the top 10 features, we can go over a little bit. It's up to you.
I just wanted to make sure to hit the translator of the Thesaurus, the super secret. I really want to talk about controlling track changes, because that sends people to the moon. It makes them crazy. And let me just say, you guys, tracking changes is such a weird phenomenon anyway. Here, I think it's right over here. Control track changes. It's such a weird thing to do. Navigation pane, view, navigation pane. Let me go to my pages this time, see if I can find one. Here we go. I'll go to this one. Tracking changes happens on the review tab, and it's right over here. It's a whole section. See, everyone thinks it's this button because that button says track changes. So I'm going to turn my track changes on, and I'm going to turn it off. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't just turn it on and then turn it off. No, it's much smarter than we mere humans. And so I'm very sarcastic about it because it does nothing but cause problems. Legal offices use this. So if I turn my track changes on and I make a change here, it shows I didn't format that, you guys. The change here, I didn't do that. Track changes did that, because it wants to show the next person what changes were made, so they can be the ones who decide whether they're going to keep that change or not. Okay, I get it. Legal offices, lawyers want to know who's changing what. I get it. But now, good luck getting that red text off your screen. Here's how to do it. First of all, you not only have to turn the thing on, and see this button, it's on because it's gray. Turn it off. Oh, I turned it off, but that didn't go away because it's a two-step process to turn this thing off. You turn it on, you turn it off, but you have to tell it original. Okay? Actually, that didn't keep the change. Maybe I have to do no markup. There it is, no markup. Now the change here that I wrote, which was read a moment ago, I actually chose it. Go ahead and leave it in there, but don't give me any markup colors. Okay, I wish it would say no markup colors, because then we would be more apt to use it and more apt to choose it. So the big thing about track changes, yes, you can turn it on. Good luck turning it off, but at least change this to no markup. In previous versions, it was called final. Final was the end product. Loved it. They took away that in 2016. Makes it a little harder to understand, but it's just one of those things that makes people crazy. Sends you to the loony bin, but it's easy if you know it's a two-step process. All right. I think that covers our list for today. Please feel free to email Cecilia. Please sign up for the course. I cover every single ribbon and all the buttons in the course, and it's pretty informative. So I hope you liked our webinar. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you taking out the time, and I hope to see you in one of the courses.